It's time for Coming in Hotter, Sens post-game show.
Live from the Sports Interaction Studio, this is Coming in Hotter. My name is Jamieson, and with me tonight, I was supposed to be flying solo, but flanked by none other than Cody Gaudreau and Graham Nichols. Gentlemen, what are we feeling right now? Mixed emotions?
Play the Stone Cold Steve Austin music coming in. Nobody expected us. Nobody expected us, and we're here.
Would have been perfect. Or just like come in with some John Cena and just not even having your screens on at all and leaving me all alone. That would have been all right. Yeah, they're here.
Just leave.
So, okay, we go to OT. We collect a point. Probably deserved it just like last night. 6 out of 8 points in the last 4 games, but neither of the last 2 went the way they should have. Does that describe some emotions for Sens fans right now? It's how I'm feeling.
I feel like today's game is much more of a coin flip. Like, I feel like Detroit played well enough to win that game. I feel like Ottawa played well enough to win. It was almost like a 50-50 game. And, you know, to both teams' credit, like, they capitalized on the mistakes that were made and they buried them. And last night, that game was firmly in Ottawa's hand. You know, 2-goal lead, less than 5 minutes to play. You gotta sign, seal, and deliver that. Mm-hmm. You have to.
Yeah.
You have to.
Well, You boys took that one apart yesterday very, very, very well. Cody, what are you thinking?
I agree with Graham. Like, I'm less mad at tonight's loss than last night's loss, but I think it's just piling up, just 2 overtime losses in a row in such a crucial like part of the season. Like, if we're going back to that goal you and I set, JMO, of winning 10 out of the 16 games in January, they need to sweep the rest of the games, which I don't have any confidence of that happening. So, yeah.
Speaking of confidence, though, because that's the natural progression, lots of confidence, it seems, in the chat for James Reimer. We've got Allmark still starting to skate. Now, that doesn't mean anything if it doesn't get to a game. Is there confidence building between the pipes for Sens fans, for you two? What was your? I think he looked pretty solid tonight, but let's go to you, Graham. What do you think of these stats?
For a guy who hasn't played in a very long time, like AHL notwithstanding, he had the one game down in Belleville where he allowed 6 goals. But I thought he was competent. He looked fine. He looked like a guy who's been there before, which is what you should be if you're a 37-year-old goaltender who's got as many games under his belt as he has. I thought he looked well. I thought he played relatively well, and I was hoping the team would play maybe like a little bit better in front of him, just to try and win one for him. Extra incentive. I know it's like they're all professionals, they play hard all the time and stuff, but I was hoping they'd play like a little bit tighter in front of him. But he gave him a chance to win, and that's pretty much all you can ask for a guy making his first NHL start in January, the middle of January. So hats off to James Reimer, and we'll see where they go from here. But you're right, like Linus Allmark reportedly made the trip. Whether he gets into a game later this week remains to be seen. So yeah, we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens here.
Yeah. I was just happy to see him, to, finally see what he looks like. Like, I feel like it's been so long since they signed him and we were just waiting for him to show up. I thought he looked a little shaky. Like, we've sure, for a guy playing his first game, he looked fine, but I don't think the Sens have the time or willpower to say, oh, it's only your first game, no big deal. No, they need saves, they need wins now. Yeah, for a guy playing his first game, yeah, he looked good. But just in general, I don't think he played up to the level that they really needed. You're right, Graham. He did give a chance to win, which is, more than we got yesterday. But he looked shaky. He didn't control his rebounds. There's a couple times that they didn't end in goals, but he was kind of just looking for the puck and he had no idea where it was, where, he should know. I saw him once, he was looking behind him when the puck was at the blue line. That's just, so you can see there's still rust on him, but I'm not going to put too much judgment on just one game. So I wouldn't mind seeing a little bit more of him before I get a more concrete answer on that.
But the bar is so low. The bar is so low. Ottawa's collective save percentage is what, 865 this season? So 882.
Oh yeah, 100%. It's compared.
That's an improvement.
especially just compared to yesterday and like where the bar, like you said, has been set. Like this was a good game. But like you keep saying we need average goaltender. Like there's a debate to be had whether tonight was average or slightly below average or whatever. So, but I mean, he didn't look like a super savior or anything.
I think that the 882 is the biggest thing to focus on here. As Justin just said, and thank you for that, Justin. What a game. A tad better than average. I mean, Graham, how long have you been saying this from a statistics point of view, how good this team would be if we were just getting average goaltending to league minimum and league standard? And this is what we got tonight. Was it shaky? I mean, I think we have the video over here. This was the nervous energy of all Sens fans tonight watching this play from James Reimer. Cody, you know exactly what we're going to see here because this is my favorite thing in the world. The thing you texted me about was watching James Reimer try to bobble the puck, pick it up, and I mean it's something so minute. It is so completely insignificant to the game. But if you're a Sens fan right now, you're just kind of doing the yeah. I mean, tell me I'm wrong. But back to the point that I'm making.
I thought it was hilarious.
This was, oh, dude, Twitter lit up.
Yeah.
If this was our post game show for like 45 minutes, I'd still watch it.
Yeah,
just that.
All right, perfect. Andy, just roll the clip again, and let's just know.
It was so funny because sorry, JMO, but like this is the exact thing I made fun of my sister of for like 5 years when she was playing junior. Like I remember like when she was starting off playing goalie, that was she was an amazing goalie, but that was the one thing she just had trouble doing. So because that was the only athletic thing I had over my sister, I made fun of her for a good like 5-6 years for that. But yeah, it's pretty
as any brother should.
Of course.
But I think when you're leading 2-1, they had a good couple minutes of the 2-goal lead. It's only 1 goal away from tying it up. Yeah, I get the nervous energy, but I think at some point or another, the dam's got to break on the negativity, whether it's in the room or not. And that's something I really want to come back to because we definitely need to talk about the game tonight. But it's got to break, does it not? And with regards... No.
Well, I've seen several people allude to like how the last night's result and like Sanderson's comment are like they're phrasing it in such a way as like obviously it's a fractured room. There's a lack of confidence between the players, and it's like I don't think it's that way at all. Like I think like there is a resiliency to this group where they continue to come back. Deficits happen, they come back, they get down 3-2, they bounce back quickly with a goal of their own. Like this team has shown over the course of this season, last season. They can bounce back. They can come back quickly. The problem is they're just not getting enough saves. And I think Jake Sanderson, we're making a lot of what he said last night, but there's such a blunt honesty, and it's refreshing, especially coming from a guy like him, who isn't the best quote per se. Like he's an engaging guy, but he's not giving you like a Claude Giroux or a Brady Tkachuk or a Thomas Chabot or a David Perron like monologue. Like he's very short with his answers typically. You can get him enthusiastic about the game and plays and other players around the league and his teammates and stuff. But like when he's talking about himself or anything else, it's very usually quick, prompt, and he doesn't play up too many. So like I look at his comments and I see it as like a leadership thing where he's essentially saying this isn't good enough. It has to get better. We need help. Like we need help now from our goaltenders because all the guys know. Travis Green alluded to it last night. Like they're playing good hockey. And I think against Detroit, like Detroit, it was a rested team. Cody and I talked about this last night. Detroit was at home waiting for Ottawa to show up. Ottawa had a very emotional overtime game last night. They probably arrived in Detroit late, and they played well. Like considering the circumstances and everything else, the emotional drag that probably I can't imagine what that flight was like last night.
Yeah, that's and I'm glad you said it that way too, because I think for a lot of people, seeing a guy like Jake Sanderson who doesn't say, you just said it all, I don't need to recap it. I think it's almost comforting to hear somebody who's in the room and covers the team as closely as you do say that, because from my perspective, it was alarming. It was to see such a direct, what could have been interpreted as a shot at a goaltender to the media, it really, I was wondering quite a bit. So I appreciate that take. I think
to say JMO sort of cut you off, but I would say too, like, I can probably guarantee you that Jake probably apologized to Levy after that was all over anyways. You know, like he got singled out. The goal, it's very rare for a player on this team to get singled out for a mistake ever. Goalie is the easiest one to do, obviously, for good reason. But for that to happen, we haven't seen it all year. Like even like Timmy and Brady last night went to bat for him consistently. It's on us. We help out. We help out with defending, tying up sticks, boxing guys out, and doing our work to make it easier on our goaltenders. And we have to do a better job, obviously, of doing that. And they own that. But at the same time, Jake stood up and said something different than everybody else there, and that's not something that we've grown accustomed to from him at all. So I think it carries a lot more weight, to be frank, and to get that kind of spiel from him and that kind of analysis goes a long way. And I think it carries a lot of weight. And to see the team respond today, I thought they played relatively well, considering the circumstances and everything else that's going on. They had a chance to win. That's all you could ask for. 4 points this weekend would have been unbelievable. They had a chance to get 4 points. I think with better goaltending, they'd probably get 4.
If I can like jump into like when we're on the quote, like it goes back to, and I mean you know Sanderson better than I do, obviously, but what is he supposed to say when he's asked, what did you think of Marilainen's play? Like, he's not going to say, like, he can't say, oh, he played fine. Like, so could he have worded it better? Probably. But he didn't say anything that Marilainen wasn't aware of. So, like, I fully agree with you.
He said what everybody was thinking out loud.
Yeah.
Which is
100%.
rare.
Absolutely.
And when you clamor in this game, when you clamor for quotes and just different layers, and more nuance and everything else, when someone finally gives it to you, you can't complain when it happens.
Yeah.
Well, you touched on the leadership side of things too, and I think you mentioned Stützle going to bat for him. Tkachuk is the captain. You can't question whether or not he's got to say something neutral or broad sweeping. I think it is interesting that you brought that point up, because part of this could very well be the maturation of Jake Sanderson as a hockey player, not just the guy on the ice. Well, he's part of this core going forward. He's part of the expected leaders, and letter or no letter, this could just be him starting to be speaking his mind. Stützle has been stepping up quite a bit and having a lot more to say this season, it seems. And I think, it ties into what I was saying earlier. The dam's got to break at some point with this. And whether there is a toxicity or a tightness in the air in that locker room because of everything that's gone on, we do not need to rehash all that bullshit that went on the last little while around this team. But it's a very tight locker room, though. Like, it's a good group of guys, and the cohesion's there. Like, they all genuinely like each other. There's not a bad, like, you talk to any employee who's around that rink, they all rave about how good this group is, how polite and like cordial they are when they're just dealing with employees and just the public. They're good. They're good guys. And like, I don't think there's any discord. I don't think there's any like disruption within that locker room during this stretch. It's just, they just need saves. And that's what it comes down to. They just need saves. And I've seen people kind of put Sanderson's comments under the lens of, hey, this has to be a shot at management. Steve Sayos didn't do his job as general manager. And I think, like, I don't know if that's a huge reach. If to me, it feels like a little bit of a reach. I think he was just reflecting on the goaltender at that particular time. But
he was answering your question. Like,
I think that's all it is. I don't think it was anything more than that. But like, I think there is, like, and Cody and I talked about this previously as well. I think there is like a pressure for this organization to go out and bolster it. I don't know if James Reimer is going to be the answer. I think it's a good story. He's a good vet who's been around for a long time. But I think there's going to be like Linus Ullmark kind of just left at the wrong time. Like, it's a critical juncture of the season. And he's dealing with whatever he's dealing with, and you can't begrudge him for leaving if he's not in a great place. Or him and his family aren't in a great place at the time, and they need his support. He needs support, whatever. It's just like the timing of it was just awful from a standpoint where this team needs to claw back into the postseason picture. And without him, they're just simply not getting enough saves. And they've lost a lot of points on the board. And, you talk about 2 points this weekend against 2 winnable games against divisional rivals in Detroit and Montreal. I think, like, this is the kind of weekend where you look back and say, man, like, would have been nice to have those 2 points.
Yeah.
But they got 2 instead of 0. And you mentioned the goaltending. Well, we've got Justin putting in here again. Reimer did his job on the penalty kill. You know, you've got guys putting the puck in the net. I loved Batherson's first goal because one of the things that has been true for me as a Sens fan in general, but this year Cody's had to hear it 100,000 times, is just shoot the damn puck. Well, it was 3rd time's a charm on Batherson's goal. I mean, you've got Shabbat taking his shot. You've got Zetterlund taking his whack, all point-blank shots. And finally, you've got Batherson kicking it all off. And yeah, you can go through all of the goals, but the special teams were pretty darn good tonight. They were at a level that you would expect these Senators to play at. And so you've got an 8-8-2 from your goaltender. You've got a 4-3 overtime loss. Of course, it has to be DeBrincat. But this. I don't think that there's as much to worry about, and I think that's why I led with the 6 points and 8 out of 8 right off the top. You know, some of these goals, I don't know which one to say I was happier to see. I mean, Pinto, that last goal. I know I'm skipping ahead here, but just seeing the cohesion in this group and seeing Perron, or not, excuse me, not Perron. It was Perron setting up Giroux with a pass rather than just taking the shot on the power play. All points are clicking here. So if you look at the chat, there seems to be a lot of people saying that none of the points are clicking, and I'm lost. Am I missing something? Does anybody want to enlighten me as to what I'm missing? Because it seems like we're scoring goals, we've gotten some goaltending, and the wheels are starting to turn. I mean, looking at the all donations. Sorry, I wasn't sure.
It's all good.
Shed Wi-Fi there for a second.
No, it's all good.
When you're talking about like all the pieces working together, I think that's definitely what we saw in the first period. Like in general, like Sens came out really good in the first period.
Lying.
But then it kind of just started breaking down. You know, you get the kind of dumb penalties in the future, and then penalty kill is the same as it's always been, just doesn't work out. Whether that is something you want to blame on goaltending or something else. Like, so you're right. This has all the pieces that we've been talking about, right? Like, how many times did we say the Sens just need average goaltending, which they kind of got at least tonight, and they still come out with the loss. But I mean, they kept it close. This is the type of game that they could have won. Like Graham said, this is a 50-50 game, honestly, once it goes to overtime. But like, I don't know. I do like while we're talking about the goals and stuff, like I do find it tiring that so many goals are going in from distance. And I know I mentioned this on Twitter and stuff, and it's like Sandy and Palika's goal. And I think part of it's like a function of like the way that the Senators play. They take away the middle of the ice a lot. So there's constantly layers of traffic in front of their goaltenders. Yeah.
But like that's scored from a distance and it goes in. And like last night, several goals go in on Levi Marilainen.
Sandy and Bellica was just in off the point. That was it wasn't even that hard of a shot.
No, it just seeing eye, right? Finds a way. But like Lucas Raymond's shot was fantastic, like through Sandy and in glove. Not much you could do there. The only gripe is like Sandy threw it off the boards casually, off the glass and out. Detroit recaptures it at the blue line, fires it back up in transition. 2 passes later, it's in the back of the net. Like, you know,
well, there's
like,
a point that
off the glass and out is great when it works and the other team doesn't come back, but it is a change in possession. You're giving the puck back to the opposition, and you know
it's great when it works.
It's great when it works, but I mean, like every time you do it, you're basically conceding possession to the opposition. So, you know, there's a time and place for it. But like Van Riemsdyk's goal as well, like Artem Zub, I don't know what he was thinking. Yeah, he was just worried about the pass coming back to like the circle, the midpoint of the circle, top of the circle, instead of just crashing the net and just knocking him on his ass because no one was around him.
Yeah, if I can just oversimplify on that goal, it's literally, I mean, how many times have I said it with you, Graham, where it's just Sens just being soft in front of their own net, like opposition players just getting a little bit too comfortable, whether it's screening a goalie, which is what happens on those far shots most of the time, or just, you know, not being physical enough in front of the net. So
aside from Clevin and Matt and Pallad, they don't have those guys. They certainly don't have them in the top. They certainly don't have them in the top 4. I like the way Artem Zub defends because it's not the prototypical big physical guy. Like he defends well for, gap up, good stick, reads the play well, anticipates, but they don't have a bruiser in their top 4. They don't. And I think it's one of the shortcomings of the team. And I'm hoping they'll address it at some point. Like I don't want just a big guy for the sake of having a big guy there. Like you got to be able to skate. You got to be able to move the puck. You have to. If you can't move the puck, and you can't skate. You have no place in this league right now. So if you can't do those, then don't bother. But they got to. I think they have to do something to address the blue line this offseason.
And the more I think about it, like the more those guys are like, the more you realize how rare those guys actually are. So it's weird. But sorry, go ahead, JMO.
No, I was just gonna say, like everybody in the chat, everybody in social media land, everybody who's been a little pissed off about the goings on around the Ottawa Senators lately. Graham alluded to it. Steve Staios isn't doing his job, and Travis Green isn't doing.
I didn't say he wasn't doing his job. I said he's taking heat for it.
No, and that's what I'm saying. I'm saying you alluded to people saying what I'm saying, and that's the problem is. The team could go make these changes, but are we at the point right now in the season where they need to make a choice as to whether or not it is a rental or overpayment for a player like that at this point, given that we are where we are in the standings? Yes, it's still tight enough to make the playoffs. I understand nothing is mathematically true at this point, but does it even make sense? Like, do you let what's going on work itself out, or is that move so necessary that you use it as the catalyst for change?
I think it depends on what happens when Ullmark comes back. Like I'm assuming he comes back soon. If he plays well out of the gate and gives them good goaltending for a good stretch, I think they could play themselves back in by the time the Olympic break happens. But if his game isn't there, which his game was up and down to begin with this season, like he was playing a little bit better before he left. And had that game in Toronto. But if he doesn't give them quality starts, then you're banking on James Reiner giving you quality starts. And I don't think that's. I know. I just don't like. I'm not trying to begrudge or belittle James Reimer and what he's capable of doing, but like 37-year-old who's got one start this season under his belt in the middle of January, like how reasonable is it to assume that he's going to be able to flick a switch and play as well as he did like down the stretch with Buffalo last year? Like it does to me, that doesn't make a ton of sense. So I think this season kind of rides on what Linus Ullmark is ready to give you. And at this point, even though he's on the trip, we have no idea when that is. We have no idea when he's coming back. And that's where they're at right now. It's frustrating. And I think they do have some desirable assets if they decide to sell. Like I think the good news is with Ottawa, I think like if you look at the roster, they have some veterans who are like in their late 30s who you could easily say, okay, like, well, thank you for your service. We're going to go in a different direction. Like next season, we're going to bring in some youth, maybe hopefully a lot more speed. I think if, we talked about the physicality of the blue line, but I think like speed in the forwards position is something that they desperately need. And that's one easy way to address it is let some of the veterans go who are like 35, 36, 37 years of age and then go in a different direction.
Yeah. I really agree with that. But even then, like how many veterans did the Sens even still have? Like 3, 4, and then if you're getting something, that's a line worth of guys. That's that's fair, but you're right too. Like if you're gonna want something that isn't just a rental or something on the short term. Like I honestly think that if in some wacko world the Sens can go, oh, we'll go to the Rangers and say Perron for Panarin 1-for-1. Like I don't think they're doing that. Well, I mean, I'm exaggerating here, but like, I don't know.
Underestimate Chris Drury.
Like, I don't.
Who writes a letter like
that? But like, I don't know if that's the right move. And yeah, you saw that letter coming, so shout out to you.
Yeah.
But so did ChatGPT.
Awkward.
But, no, it's like I think the hard part too is like I think if Ottawa is in a position where they fall out of it, I think like the veterans that they do have aren't going to return a lot. I don't know what's going to happen with Claude Giroux if the team falls out of it. I think like that's a decision you leave to the player. Do you want to go pursue a ring somewhere else? I think it's his prerogative what he wants to do. But I like Claude's probably the one vet on this team that I'd have absolutely no problems bringing back. He's excellent.
Mm-hmm.
He's excellent. Good vet, good character guy, good in the room. So.
Yeah. Well, I mean, is if they bring someone in, like I just can't see it being a short-term thing. Like,
no, and I think that's the problem too, right? Like we talked about all the draft capital that they've exhausted in recent years.
Well, I don't think it's even that. It's just, even last year and this year, like I talked about it with Wally. Like, sure, if we were heading into this season expecting a playoff team, but even then, I didn't expect them to go for a rental because. Yeah, they're a team that can get in for a playoff and get into the playoffs and wreak some havoc there, but they're not. Nobody thought they were on the level of like Florida or Colorado or Edmonton or like they were playoff teams, but they weren't true cup contenders. And I really think
I think the way Ottawa is built, if they pursue a championship, it's going to be kind of like the route of like St. Louis, where they're like a big. Physical, like Ottawa's maybe not at that level yet, but they got a bunch of big bodies who can hit and do some things. But it's going to be like it's almost like their opportunity window is going to be almost like a one and done. They're going to be a hard out, irrespective of when they make the postseason. I think we saw that with Toronto last year. Ottawa's not an easy out. I don't think if they made it this year, I don't think they'll be an easy out. I think people will not want to play Ottawa, knowing that if this team gets hot and gets saves at the right time, they can go through a lot of teams.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, as you saw tonight, they're going to score the goals. They're going to do. They're going to get in your face on the score sheet as well. I think a lot of people. I'm seeing Maylee, Zoe, and I've seen a few people bring up here that it's not just whether or not it's worth trading somebody for somebody else. By the end of the season, you've got these people in their late 30s. I think the only veteran that comes back, if you have to ask me, is like those two said. Porcas, because Porcas is going to be that same style of in your face. He's going to be annoying as hell to play against. And I think the role for a Giroux or a Perron or even an Eller and guys like that is as respectful as they are, or we need to be of them, and their careers. The young guys have learned how to play their game, their style of game. Yes, Giroux absolutely controls his destination as far as does he stay and ride it out, or should he Ray Bork it up and go to the first team that's going to win the cup? Yeah, he probably deserves to do that. I don't think that the Sens are that far without capital, assuming that is sort of the understood way. Lots of people going after Steos as well. Marty wondering about whether or not Steve has the cojones, if you will, to go somewhere big for a UFA. That's yet to be seen. Right now, you look at the Anderson trade that happened today. Do we have a Zach Whitecloud that we're willing to give up and make this big blockbusting trade? And is that going to help us?
They certainly don't have a first-round pick.
Yeah,
well, that's true.
But there's also two things there. Like, if this team had a Zach Whitecloud, that fills up one of the big holes that we've been talking about for a while, right? Just like a big defender. But no, you're right. Like the Sens.
And maybe he's a guy that the Senators kick tires on because he's inexpensive in Calgary. They're rebuilding.
I was just going to go the exact same way.
But there's also the reports of like Boston was in on him. And the reason they didn't get it done is because they couldn't figure out an extension, and Vegas was willing to do the trade without Anderson at an extension. And I think like if the Sens could even like get like Anderson in a trade, like if they had the prospects and picks or whatever for that, they'd be the same thing. Like, hey, we're not getting this guy for just a year because like we're not at that point yet where we can just spill out that much that we're that sure we're like making the finals or whatever like Vegas is doing, right? So. No, like,
that goes back to like the fact that there's nothing in the farm system. Like they can't be put in a position where they're making short-sighted trades, but even acquiring guys with no term because they already have very few prospects in the pipeline. If you deplete that even further, then they have nothing and they haven't accomplished anything yet. But they're not even necessarily that close. They're closer to being a middle of the pack team than they are to being a true contender, like you said, right?
And that's right. Like, even if they did have the assets, they wouldn't have done it. Like just.
Maybe. I don't know. It depends on how you view it because I think like the window to win for this team is now. Like Drake Batheson's a free agent after next season. Brady Tkachuk and Tom Chabot are up the following year after that. Like if you're worried about, I'm not doing this to strike fear or panic in the fan base, but it's like Brady Tkachuk's next extension and those contract talks with Ottawa are probably going to be like the tipping point for what's going to happen with this franchise for the next 5 to 7 years. Like that's going to plot the course.
100%.
It's going to plot the course of the direction of this team moving forward. And I think you do have to put a good step forward while he's here, right? Or otherwise you have to incentivize him staying. And I think like that's the downside for a season like this, where it's like the team is doing well. And I think like he sees that. He talks about that all the time in all his media availabilities. He talks about how competitive, how great this group of guys is. He wants to win with this group. And when it's undone by one position not performing up to expectations, it's a lost season. And it's not just a lost season. It's like 1 year doles off their contracts. And then everyone's 1 year older, the 1 year closer to free agency, the 1 year closer to being more expensive and having tougher decisions be made down the road. And I think that's the frustrating part. When you start talking about the next extension for some of these players, like they are going to get like prohibitively, I shouldn't say prohibitively, but we've seen like the Alex Tuck contract negotiations being played out over the internet coming out of Buffalo, where it's like, if that guy wants 10+ million a year, like what's Brady going to want?
Yeah.
what's Thomas Chabot going to want? You know, like it's all of a sudden you're like, hey, Ottawa's in a pretty good cap situation because we have player ABC on these like sweetheart first extensions. But then once these guys start ticking off, like Drake Batherson's next contract is going to be an interesting one as well.
Well, it's going to be double.
He's going to want to raise.
It's going to be close to double what he makes.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of these guys, I think, there's going to be room having to be made. I mean, I want to go all the way back to what Justin said a couple of minutes ago about when's it going to be sufficient to just have Spence with Chabot and Matt and Paolo back with Clevin. I mean, these are all questions that play into it, because Justin, that comment made me think, well, wait a minute, maybe because they're jogging along, and I'm going to say this about Clevin and Matt and Paolo, are those two of the guys? No, neither of those are a Zach Whitecloud, but are those two of the roster players that could lead to maybe not a blockbuster, but in lack of a better or of a first round pick that Graham mentioned, could it be that the Sens are willing to make a move that includes these people? And I don't know. I don't know how much talk goes on between the GM and the coach, but you're moving guys around to see how versatile they are. And at the end of the day, it's a business. They're all just tradable picks, are they not? I mean,
well, I think that to your point, Jamieson, I think like those kind of deals that you mentioned or allude to, like, hey, maybe we'll be interested in moving this player if it gets us a better player. Like those are like improving the margins. I think that's what this team's constantly looking for, right? Just improve the margins. If everyone's like 2 or 3% better, or whatever upgrade you get is like 2 to 5% better, well, that might be a point or two in the standings over time, right? So,
yeah, it's it's all going to be a very interesting few weeks. I think, Cody and I mentioned this the other night talking about before or after. And I think, Graham, you guys may have brought it up on the other show. And I do want to talk about this in a second. Do we see these things starting to happen before the Olympic break, or do we see these things happen and is it a floodgate after the Olympic break? But first, before we talk about that and surmise, we have to talk about how bloody bad I am when it comes to betting. Yeah. This segment, guys, is brought to you by Sports Interaction Sportsbook and Casino. Every game is your game when you bet with Sports Interaction. Bet the action on every period, every shift, every shot with Canada's homegrown sportsbook, Sports Interaction. Ontario only, 18 plus. Please play responsibly. So I suck. Yeah. I look, odds 1150. I thought, is there a Cinderella story here? Is there a way that James Reimer comes in and says, you know what? I don't care what they say, and I'm going to get – no, he didn't get a shutout. He did not get a shutout. I thought maybe.
I respect the hell out of that pick, though.
Well, thank you. It's a – when you're gonna Babe Ruth it and you just point with the bat and, you just – anywho – didn't work. But it was kind of the same thing with the Sens on the money line. I thought that was less about the odds, more about the fan in me coming out and thinking, you guys both mentioned how incredibly emotional yesterday's game was. It's a hard one to come off. They probably didn't get even 2/3 of the sleep they would normally get, and they're right back at it for a late afternoon game on a Sunday. Nope. Did not work for me either. And come on, Dylan Larkin. I know I probably should have picked the Senator here, so tear me apart in the chat if you want to. But I'll ask you this because clearly we don't need to spend a ton of time on how bad JMO is at betting. Was I that far off? Was I really?
I mean, Dylan Larkin's not a bad pick. Like, I don't know the exact numbers, but he's a guy that has a lot of success against the Sens in general. But I mean, the Sens winning is not a bad. It's not a bad one. Like, I mean, you
got a 50-50 chance, JMO.
Exactly, especially after yesterday. Like, I bet after the first period you were feeling pretty darn good.
I wasn't feeling very good at all. Like the 2 goals, it was in the first period. I was thinking to myself, "Hey, cool, we're up."
But then,
sure, but
then the Reimer shutout. Like, I know you probably weren't that confident in it, but I respect the hell out of that pick. Like, that's a great story.
I was more confident in the shutout after the 2-goal lead than I was in the winning of the game. But that's just, that's neither here nor there. I'm going to work on this. I can tell you one thing. At my other place of business, my other job, I am in dead last in the company fantasy hockey pool. I think there's a trend here. Yeah. Listen, every game is your game when you bet with Sports Interaction. From puck drop to overtime, bet with live odds on every play with easy deposits and payouts. Go to sportsinteraction.com/cominginhot to open an account. Again, Ontario only, 19 plus. Please play responsibly. And as always, this show is brought to you by Bonacere Excavating. BEI, if you're a homeowner thinking about a new driveway, fresh gravel, or getting your property ready for a spring project, BEI can help. They supply quality aggregate and landscape materials at competitive prices, and they've got the equipment and experience to handle everything from small residential jobs to full driveway work. To get a quote or to learn more, visit bonachereexcavating.com or call 613-432-1120. BEI, helping shape the Ottawa Valley. And as always, please slow down in construction zones. So we mentioned, thanks, buddy. Yeah.
You're making me look bad, man. You're making me look bad.
No. I'm the ugly one. That's my thing.
Sorry.
You're not talking about your internet camera's better though, Cody. So
That's true.
I am happy to tell you I have spoken with the providers. There will be a switch coming. I know that all of the people who help me on this will be happy to hear that. Wally, if you're watching, I swear to God, it's going to get better.
I don't think it's a camera. Maybe that's just what JMO looks like. He just looks pixelated in real life.
He's got like Vaseline on his camera, on his lens.
I do want to jump into 37 games, 24 points against the Senators for Dylan Larkin. So, I mean, not as good as I thought, but he's still pretty good. I also want to mention real quick. Yeah, I also want to mention real quick. I got an email. The Ottawa Charge just made a massive trade with Vancouver. So, I don't know. They traded like McMahon, Meixner, and Shokina for Michaela Cava, Brooke McGuire, and Emma Greco. So that's a huge trade if you're
that's awesome.
PWHL fans. So
I want more
it surprises me.
trades
I really
like
like
the NHL. Like I want more trades where it's 47 people from this team going to 12 of those teams, and we're getting we need more of that kind of fun. There should be one day a year where the NHL, you have to trade someone. Wouldn't that be great? It's the daily day, the annual day where it's got to be someone. Who's it going to be? Sit around the governor's table and figure it out. One dude is going everywhere. Yeah, whatever.
I think what they should do is
that's Wally. Oh.
No multi-year contracts or anything. It's just every year it's like a fantasy draft.
Oh my God, it'd be amazing.
But the teams get to keep like one or two players.
Yeah,
do it like every fantasy team ever.
I know this is the other team. We do need to briefly say that is it not a little odd that last night with what was the most disgustingly sick goal I've seen in a long time from Tim Stützle, JVR has to go and shine him up tonight. Like, what's that all about? If I'm Timmy, I'm just going straight after JVR. Like, that's not cool, man. You're not allowed to do that. It was my weekend.
I think he kind of just gave him the nod, like, you know what?
Yeah, 37 years old.
I'm not even mad. Yeah, that was good. I don't like the amount of room and time he had in front of the net to pull that off. Like, Timmy did it on the move, which if we want to talk about which one's more impressive. But like you said it earlier, Graham, like Zub and Sanderson give giving Van Riemsdyk that extra little bit of room so he can actually pull that move off. But it was the right move to do, like, in the moment. He wasn't going to get that in on his backhand because Reimer had that covered. So, yeah.
Well, that's the point I was going to bring up
impressive.
earlier, is Sanderson was mentioned as it's been a bit of a rough night, maybe dare I say rough weekend for him. We beat him like a dead horse with the comments he made last night, but I mean the game tonight, it did seem a little bit, even on I'm sorry, who was it, the Raymond goal, and that was an unbelievable snipe, and I do think it may have caught Sanderson's leg, but it just seemed like he was giving people a bit more room than normal. He wasn't as tight. He wasn't as dialed in. And I was watching the chat as we were having that conversation. I don't think I'm alone in saying that.
I didn't like the chip off the glass to start it, man.
That's what made me think
right,
about
like
it.
gap, but it's the gap. It was a nice like through pass though. Like he sent it from the left side to the right pretty quickly. So like full marks to Detroit for moving it as well as they did to set that up. But the PK one especially though, where he's just down on his knees, like he's having kind of like a Nick Jensen moment there. He's just trying to take away like the low pass, and then JVR has been such a good net front presence for like his entire career, so he just did what he did. And
you pulled a Jake Sanderson saying what we all think.
But Zub, I wish Zub crashed a little harder. I wish they had the physical presence in front of the net, especially on the PK at times. Like they just don't have that guy. I know like Clevin plays there sometimes, Matt Paolo as well when he's in the lineup, but they need someone in the top four who can like take those minutes and responsibilities and make the forwards work for it a little bit harder. I think. What am I hearing? JMO, is that you?
Am I breathing too loud? I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'm concentrating. The wheels are really, really turning. You know, I'm looking up the schedule to come up. I'm doing my best to host. Just get called in.
Does Andy have the schedule for like the next week?
Well, and that's sort of where I was coming in today. I'm glad.
Well, hold on. Can I say something on Sandy real quick?
No?
Oh.
Go for it. Go for it. You got time.
You're never hosting again, JMO. No, I'll say this. Like, I don't think he played, like, it didn't pop into my head after the game at all where, like, I even thought of Jake Sanderson's play as being part of why, like, the Sens lost. Like, I thought he played, like, if you're just asking me like that, it'd be like, yeah, he played awesome. What do you mean? But now that I think about it, it's like Jake Sanderson always does at least, like, one great play that you notice per game. There wasn't any of those tonight. And, like, talk on the Raymond goal, like, yeah, those are the type of stuff he usually gets. And yeah, not, you know, none of those huge like speed bursts or anything that you like Graham, you wrote about the other day. Like,
he was on for 3 of the goals today too.
Yeah. Like he like a random positive that I forgot to mention yesterday. Like he did get a 36 kilometer an hour, like speed boost. Like, and I didn't see any of those today. So yeah, like it's weird that I'm saying this, but when we're expecting Jake Sanderson to be like a superstar, like he wasn't a superstar tonight. That's just how good Jake Sanderson is.
The bar is so high.
The bar is high. It's not like the goalies.
He's his own worst enemy, you know. But no, I think he, you know, I've said this before. I ate some of it for saying it, especially in the chat. It could be as simple as the man was just tired, and that's, you know, he came down to a human level of playing in the NHL, and good for you, Jake. He's supposed to be superhuman. I get it, and you know, even Superman goes to sleep too. You know, but led Senators nice time with 25:50 of ice time, almost like 3 minutes more, 3.5 minutes, or 3 minutes and a little bit more than the next highest ice time, which was Artem Zub at 22.5 minutes. But Ridley Gregg, interestingly, like 19:57 of ice time, like the highest forward on the team, which you know, that was
most of Ottawa's.
Cool.
Like Timmy was at 18. Brady was at 16.5. Like Ridley Gregg is not someone you necessarily associate with getting the most ice time that he would get. But he's been playing well too through the stretch. I mean, like you mentioned it off air, Cody.
That's a good one.
That's phenomenal. Hey, those girls are running, Chef.
That's an awesome text.
But yeah, Graham, I'll finish your sentence for you.
Yeah, go for it.
Greg, he plays on both special teams, and there was a lot of special team action tonight. So he got a lot of PK time. He got a lot of power play time. That's where probably a good chunk of that comes up. And then he played on the Dylan Cousins and Brady Tkachuk line, which is the line that got the most ice time tonight. And they were probably the line that was buzzing the hardest. So, I mean, it's still surprising seeing him at almost 20 minutes. Like, he got, like, that's the ice time like Artem Zub or Thomas Chabot usually get. But, I mean, you're looking at that, and I mean, he didn't look bad tonight, so it's not necessarily a bad thing.
Again,
they rolled the 4 lines tonight, though. Like, everybody was between like 10 and 18 minutes of ice time. So,
Yeah.
I think that was just the coach realizing that he's got 21 tired pooches, so that's the way to do it. And getting into a more reasonable schedule. I mean, January is a brutal run for the Sens. They're on the road until Saturday, and that's not a very. It's not so close that it's short haul flights. I mean, Nashville's not that far from Columbus, all those things, but you're not in your bed. This is going to be either a really good thing because teams tend to bond on the road, and they have those moments where they just say, guys, let's get together. Allmark's on the plane. And then they come home for a little stretch. And that's something that I think a lot of fans, the players themselves, are looking forward to. It's another 5:00 game a week today, albeit at home. Are there any glaring, the Avalanche are in town. Of course, it's the Avalanche. Any glaring, any games staring out at either of you, the one to watch for, the one we must win, the one we need to judge by? Where are you?
Well, they have to win because they only picked up 2 of 4 points this weekend. I think they have to win Columbus and Nashville. They have to.
Yeah.
It's that, like, it's kind of like a murderer's row of games coming up after that. Like, Carolina is a strong team. Fortunately, it's in Ottawa. It's not Carolina, but like Vegas is, they'll have Rasmus Anderson in their lineup for that game. And then Colorado is a weapon, right? Like, that's just they're an absolute wagon of a team that's difficult to beat. So you have those 3, and then you got New Jersey, who's in a similar situation to Ottawa. They're fighting for the playoff lives. So it's like you've got 3 good teams and 1 desperate team. You can't assume you're going to bank a ton of points during that stretch. So you better pick up these points on the road while you're there. And it's going to be interesting to see what happens with the Allmark, because Allmark's on the trip. Obviously, I think it would make more sense for him to start on the road, avoid all the distractions, get his feet underneath him before he comes back to Ottawa.
I'm going to
interesting point.
I'm going to go a step further and say every game from now on is a must win until the Sens feel comfortable that they can make the playoffs. Like, it can still be a tight race, but right now they're like, what are they? Like,
they're 6 points out right now.
Okay, that's not as bad as I thought, but
they're 6 points back of Buffalo for the second wildcard seed, but Buffalo has a game in hand. So Ottawa does have a game in hand on Boston, who are 7 points up. So if Ottawa won, then they'd be 5 points back of Boston, which is a little easier. So Ottawa is starting to slowly climb up. They're gaining some ground on the teams between them and the postseason, the playoff spots, but they have to string together more wins. Like, that's the key. Like, every time you lose a game, you better string together 3 or 4. That's how they're gonna claw themselves back into this.
Yeah,
2 games at hand on Detroit too. That's wow.
I'm gonna say Sens shouldn't be comfortable, shouldn't be confident until they're like kind of where Toronto is, where they're like legit, like in and out of the wild card type of stuff. Like, right, like until the vibe changes. Like, because right now I think everyone's a little, maybe not hopeless, but everyone's just angry at the way the team is now. Like, until the mood around the team just gets better, maybe that's when Allmark comes back. But it's definitely gonna be better when they start winning games, and they need to put up a streak. That's
winning.
I don't know what you did. Your camera's clear, bud.
Whoa! Wait, that's what he looks like?
Don't look at me.
He has 2 eyes?
4. Thank you kindly.
Okay.
Yeah. We did it. Justin, we did it.
Let's appreciate this moment.
Now, don't move. Don't move. Don't change anything. Whatever you did, don't change anything.
Can I talk?
It's like all those old antennas, the rabbit ears that you have on your TV. You move them a certain way.
Yeah, as the middle child, it was my job to stay by the TV. I have, that's the Anywho.
I love growing up with remote
I
controls.
do like that Cody, you busted out the absolute must win. I mean, that is, I was leaning towards that line. I think they're because, to Graham's point, the Vegas, the Colorado, and the Jersey game are not going, and Carolina as well, not going to be easy games. This is something that they could get that vibe change from. This is something they could put the work in. They win the 2 games on the road, come home with good vibes, win against Carolina. If and they do string together that win, I think that is a very, very possible way to really change the feel of the season thus far around. It's going to be very, very interesting to say. Sorry, just saw the comment hot chat post there. Yeah, not on the phone with them yet, but I think there's a lot to look forward to because as I've sort of, I've alluded to a couple of times, the wheels are turning. There is a bit of a change I kind of sense coming from this team right now. Maybe it's a clearing of the fog moment. And with that, with the power that this team has when they're firing on all cylinders, I don't think it's completely insane to say that they could end up in that situation both of you spoke about if they can find their way. I think it's going to be a really, really interesting week. There is one thing that I'm going to throw at you guys because, and this is just before it gets too late in the show, I did see it in the chat as well. And it's more of I'm really kind of disappointed in the overall organization. Did either of you know that the Belleville Sens were at the CTC tonight?
I did, only because I was at the rink yesterday for the first 2 periods.
Yeah,
I ran into David Foote, who's their comms guy, and Footy's like, "Yeah, we're in town. We play Utica tomorrow." I'm like, he's like, "Are you coming to the game?" I'm like, "I didn't know about it, but I got probably not know."
Cheap tickets on the glass would have cost for 3 people, 2 adults and a child, with lot 1 parking. I want you guys to just guess what all-in tax price. I'll give you the over/under. If you want to throw a number at me, and this is why
3 tickets and parking, I'll say $50.
2 adults, 1 child.
$50.
Oh, that feels low. 2 adults, 1 child plus parking.
Yeah,
that's got to be 100 or something.
$44 and change. And on the glass, it was. What a missed opportunity is the only thing.
Yakimchuk had a beautiful assist today too.
They won really 5-4. This was a battle of the basement, so to speak, in 7th versus 8th team. But listen, it doesn't matter how many people are out there, and this is why I said it's a bit of a missed opportunity. How many people are out there that wouldn't ever really get the chance to go see the Sens play, let alone bring their families to sit on the glass for $44. And I think if there's another one coming up, I hope anybody out there gets a chance to go see it, because if you've never been to an AHL game, it's wicked. It is such good hockey. The Belleville Sens are much like the Big Sens in that when they're clicking, God, they're good. You get to see the guys that
are they getting saves?
But Stogard played some saves. Hey, we've got the AHL's leading scorer on the baby Sens there, and Arthur Kaliev having himself a bit of a season, And I believe to win 5-4, they did save the puck, Graham. I think so.
Nice. Yeah. There you go. That would have been sweet though. $44 that's affordable. That's really good.
That's a phenomenal day at the office. I love seeing that, and I was pretty excited to bring that one up. I am excited for the rest of this week too. It's going to be a lot of fun. Tuesday and Thursday night, I will be here. I believe Cody will be with me. I don't think we'll drag Graham out, but you join us anytime, man. We love having you.
Maybe Tuesday. I got to work on Thursday, but maybe Tuesday.
Fun.
Let's go. This is a fun gang.
Maybe Tuesday.
Yeah, I can get behind it, but until then, it's going to be a big week. Get some rest Sunday night. I appreciate everyone for joining, and have a great night, guys.
See you, everybody.
You've been watching Coming in Hotter. your home for Sens post-game coverage all season long. We're live after every game. Don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe so you never miss a show.